Greetings, fantasy basketball fans. Again, in the interest of trying to be efficient and sorry about waving paper in your face, not making this take too long, let's get started. For what it's worth, I don't know that I have been on since. I got some pretty positive feedback. I feel like sometimes I'm just speaking into the void here, and that's okay, really. I kind of do this for my own sake and just on the off chance it helps somebody else. Maybe there's a parallel with my league into some of the league, then so be it. But I did get some positive feedback, and that was encouraging. So appreciate that. Just know, I took some time off last week to record reading Winnie the Pooh for my grandson and put it on video. And so just know that I'm just sort of creating content that best suits my tastes and I don't know, my legacy or whatever. But if it is helping someone out, I appreciate it. If you let me know, that's great. Let's jump into the 2.0 Thunder. This is a league I think that will survive. We are 13-3. We are third place in the standings, if you will. We are third as far as points scored, but we are sixth in points against. And again, this is out of 32 teams. We average about 133.5 points a week, and there's only 7 starters. You can see I've already locked in a couple of players here, Holmgren and Wiggins from yesterday. We'll kind of see how this goes, but this league is divided into 8 divisions, 8 4-team divisions, and only the division winners make it to the playoffs. I am in second place by a game and some points. So even if I end up tied with this guy, I don't know that I'm going to win any tiebreakers. And I've looked at the schedules, and it just still appears like I'm not going to catch this guy. So I started looking at, is there a benefit to that? And I guess if there's a small benefit, there's a chance that I would end up with, like, say, the 23rd draft pick instead of the 29th. Now, 23rd draft pick, I mean, in a regular league, that's, second round, late second round in some cases. So that's not great. However, I do think the draft class for 2026 is really good. So maybe those 6 spots will matter. But being the third leading scorer in the league and getting, not necessarily the third worst pick, may work out in the long run. And again, it's free, it's fun, it's whatever. I got to pick the Oklahoma City Thunder. I've been managing it, I think, pretty well this year. I went back and looked at the teams I'd lost to, and they're all pretty good teams, so it's not like I dropped the ball anywhere. We're just going to keep grinding and see how it goes. We were 16th, by the way, in scoring last week. One of the reasons I was already about 20 points behind that guy in the tiebreaker. Now I'm a lot more because I did not have a great week, and my efficiency was at 87%, which also was not great. So I lost ground, basically. And, despite the fact that I'm only a game back, I just don't feel like it's going to happen. So I started looking at maybe doing some trading. I can tell you when I'm not in the playoffs, I generally start looking at what moves can I make to get better. I think everyone should do that. I do not see any deals involving 2026 draft picks. As I stated, if you've got them, keep them. If you can upgrade them, like say from a third round to a second round in some way, that's probably not a terrible idea. I think by the time draft time rolls around, which again is going to be October, I mean, we've got some time on this, those picks are all going to be pretty valuable. At least the top 24. I think, after that it might just be back to a crapshoot again, but whatever 2026 picks I have, I probably just want to keep. I do, in this league, have 2 2028 picks. I traded Isaiah Joe and picked up a 2028 pick. I also picked up McNeely. if you look at previous videos, you'll see me talking about that. But I'm always interested, if I can't get 2026 picks, at least at this point in this season, I don't mind having some future ones, because during the draft, I will be looking at, hey, I'll give you this, 2028 pick to move up in this draft, that sort of thing. So I do have a little ammo available. So, say I do get that 23rd pick, I package that with the extra 2028 pick, and maybe I can jump up, into that, 12 to 15 range at best, maybe. I haven't really done the valuation on that, but if there's a player I decide I really want, I may go get him. That being said, philosophically, if I already know it's a deep draft, I'm probably going to spread my picks out as much as I can among those top 24. So I don't necessarily want to trade up. And if I can trade, out of that top 24 into that top 24, then maybe that's what I do. If I'm already in there, then I don't necessarily need to move further up. If anything, if I'm sitting in some of these leagues, I'm sitting at like the 10 pick, I might trade back a little, a pick or two or three, not all the way out. But if I feel like there's enough talent out there that I want to just load up, then that's what I'll do. So this team, again, I think is going to be pretty good. I think McNeely is a project, and I kind of look forward to seeing how he goes. I just basically didn't see Isaiah Joe as a long-term upside. I could be wrong, depending on how his career goes. He might end up being great, but I'll take the chance on McNeely, and I'll take the number 1 pick in 2028. This team also, since it is the Thunder, does have Topic and Sorber in the wings. They've both been on injured reserve all year, but they are coming in next year and should make this team better, in addition to whatever picks I can spend on rookies. So trade deadline for this league is week 16, and the playoffs start week 18. We are about to start week 14, so we're getting there in this league. And if I don't make it, I don't make it. It's fine. Let's jump to the other Thunder team. This one's the one I don't think is going to last. I'm not sure. For what it's worth, there have been some trades lately, and they keep getting processed. I think it's set for automatic or something. But I feel like this league's probably done after this year. So we'll see. As you can see, again, I've already locked in some scores for this week. And this one does not have the weird only division winners go. We are 20-2, which is really, really good. Needless to say, 8 teams make the playoffs out of the 32. I am in 3rd place overall, so 3rd place here, and it looks like I'm probably going to make it. 3rd place in the other one, probably not. 2nd place in the West, so I would be basically, I think, the 3 seed if I were to make the playoffs as of now. This team, by the way, has won 9 straight games, which is kind of impressive. And really just kind of seems to be peaking. Love this one too, and I wish this one would survive because you get 10 starting spots. It's very deep. And if you have the Oklahoma City roster, man, it's awesome. If somebody's hurt, someone else just steps in and they do really well. So we are, by the way, also 2nd in points scored in this league and 5th in points against. So we're in both of these Thunder leagues not getting much of a break as far as how many points are scored against us. That is for sure. So this last week we were 3rd in scoring just for the week, and we were only 89%, which normally I'm in that 90 percentile. So still a little bit off as far as efficiency goes. It does look like since I knew this league probably wasn't going to last, I did kind of check to see who was setting lineups. It appears 8 teams out of the 32 are actually paying attention. So even if it survives, man, it's going to have a huge turnover, I think, as far as members go, and maybe I just have to maybe just have to do fewer leagues or decide to do another one. I will tell you the one thing this one taught me was if I do decide to do another league, I will want a deep starting lineup. This one is 10, and I really like 10. I think 9's okay. 8's getting a little bit light. Anything less than 8. What you're doing if you have a smaller starting lineup is you're encouraging people to just trade away picks, trade away their bench, and just get 6 or 7 studs and try to win it. And I like it better if you have to think about some of your bench players and some of your handcuffs and stuff like that. So trade deadline in this league is also week 16, and the playoffs also start week 18. So we are coming down to it. We're about to start week 14 in this league as well. This one, actually I say all that, this one and the other one, I think both got a little bit of a late start. So we've only had like 11 weeks in this one, and I think maybe we've only had like 8 weeks in the other one because and that's another problem. You really need to get your stuff drafted and started and settled and everything before the season starts. So I don't see any deals necessarily, and again, I don't know how big a deal it's going to be because if I'm not in the league, it doesn't matter. I do have in this league also an extra 2028 second round pick. I actually had a third, and I traded it away with a player and got a second back. So that's the upgrade I'm talking about. And I would use that 2028 extra second round pick to maybe again try to jump into the 2026 draft if I can. I tend to be very active. I send offers to people as the draft is going so that when their pick comes up, they actually have an option right there in front of them. I do that a lot, and I can't wait, actually. I'll do some of that on video, hopefully, whenever seasons get started again. By the way, the player that I traded with a third-round pick to get that second was Kobe Buffkin, who was at Brooklyn Net, and I just reached out to the guy who had the Nets roster and said, hey, this guy's a Net. Do you want him? And he said, sure. So he took him. He's since cut him, and now Buffkin has a 10-day contract with the Lakers. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. Doubt I'll pick him back up, but thought that was interesting little trivia note. This team also has Topic and Sorber coming back next year, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do. I think this team also would get better next year. But again, since it's probably not going to make it, let's move on. Putting little updates up here in the corner now, so if you just want to look at those before I get to them, you can. This was a team I was given the Pistons roster. There was a little bit of banter going on. I got this guy Tui down here, and he's been on IR all year, and he was waived weeks ago, so he's not really on a team or anything. I was going through the trade deadline, and this league is this week, so I went through my roster and I saw if there was anybody I want to trade. I did send a trade. I sent Duncan Robinson and I sent Washington here together for Julius Randle. That dude, like, immediately insta rejected that offer. He didn't even. I told him, I said, you can counter. Let's talk it out if you want to. He didn't even bother. He just said no. So I'll probably end up keeping both of those guys. Washington's been a little bit of an injury problem, but as I was going through my roster, I pretty much marked everyone with their nicknames in Sleeper with a padlock and said not trading, except for this guy Tui. And then there's some bench guys that I just leave blank because nobody wants them anyway. But I always feel like if there's a rookie out there, maybe there's a fan of the college that kid went to, or maybe there's a fan of just the player, I'll let them know. So I put in the nickname any pick. If anybody wants this guy, I'll take a pick. And a lot of people came back and like, this guy's worthless. And one dude did say in the chat, hey, you never know until you ask, which is pretty much correct. I figured it's worth throwing it out there, and if nobody wants him, that's fine. So I find it interesting when people are not interested, they can just be quiet. They don't have to ridicule or, say anything. But anyway, so I threw Tui out there. I did pick up this guy, Asingwe, which I'm really kind of excited about. He was on the waiver wire, and he was a rookie this year, and I think he's going to be really good. So I've got a couple of rookies that are not Pistons on this team that I kind of like. And so I'm probably just going to ride this out. We're 11-2. We're in fourth place. 6 teams make the playoffs, and it's going to be tight, like all the way. I don't think there's any room for error here. And we're 5th in points, and we're 28th in points against. This is one team that I am getting at least the benefit of not having to fight against the high scorers every week. So, anyway, I think the Pistons team here is looking pretty good. I did look ahead at the schedule. I get the number 6 team in week 17, and the playoffs start week 18. So that very well could be, depending on where I'm at, win and get in, lose and go home. That could be the way that works out. Looking here at my notes, I did look at my power forward numbers. There's a way in Sleeper, if you go to your team up at the top, honestly to me it looks like a little gas can on your phone. And I've tried looking at this stuff on the PC, and it doesn't have the same functionality, so I'm just going to describe it. But you hit the little gas can thing next to your team name, and it shows you how you rank compared to your league at each position. This team, I'm pretty weak at power forward. I did trade Tobias Harris, and like I said, Washington's been kind of a pain, so injury-wise. So, I don't know if this team's going to win it all. We would have to get pretty hot at the end, I think. But, I've been pretty happy with it. It was the first league I ever jumped into. I wanted the Thunder in this league, and I was a half a second late picking them. Someone picked them right in front of me, so I picked the Pistons. And I've been doing pretty good. Last week, by the way, we were 14th in scoring, and we were 84% efficient. So it seems like throughout my teams, I was a little off last week, and I don't really know how to explain that necessarily. I've been using my same process with my spreadsheet. You'll notice here, I basically locked in already a couple players here, and then I got a yellow here next to Cunningham. That's kind of a maybe. I'm going to wait and see what happens with Cunningham. A lot of the time is he plays on Monday and he sits on Tuesday. If that happens, I probably go ahead and lock in this 32, despite the fact that he has a couple more games after that. I just don't like playing with the injuries. So we'll see how this goes with the Detroit Pistons. So here's these first 3 teams. Again, 2 of them I think are pretty good shots to make the playoffs. One of them probably should be, but the format is working against it. So I feel like I'm doing pretty good. When we get to Sleeperholics Anonymous here, this was a team that, again, was drafted. So it's not just getting a franchise. But I did not get to draft it. So I joined this league, and I told the commissioner, just give me a team. And he gave me this team that had been drafted by someone else. And this is the first season for this league. And, I'm just kind of trying to embrace the challenge, I guess, with the Sleeperholics. So we are 6-7. 6 teams make the playoffs again, and I don't know why it's only 6. That makes no sense to me. The trade deadline is week 18, and the playoffs start week 18, which I find to be a little weird. There might be some collusion going on, I think, once you get toward the end of this season. I don't know. I did send a trade offer out there. Sorber is sitting on the trade block. I sent a second-round pick just to see what the guy would say, and I also sent a chat saying, hey, tell me if you want picks, players, whatever. I would grab Sorber. I find that the Thunder picking someone and putting them on injury reserve for a year or 2 is not a bad thing. It's a good stash. So he did not get back with me, which means he probably isn't active and doesn't care. I do have Porzingis. I do have Poeltl. I have Tobias Harris in this league, even though it's not a Pistons roster. And I just really feel like I could trade all those guys. So we've got some weeks here, and maybe someone, Porzingis and Poeltl can get healthy. Someone will want them for the championship run. Man, I would love to unload those guys. They have been hurt way too much. If you look at just the IR column here, if I sort that Z to A, I mean, more often than not, Porzingis is on IR, and more often than not, Poeltl is either on my bench or on IR. It's been very difficult having to try and deal with those guys. I did trade for Fox with this league, and I actually thought I traded Tatum. I thought I had, and I did. He's actually was 8 weeks on my injury reserve. Got a pretty good offer for him, so I traded Tatum for some picks mainly, and then I traded a lot of my picks for Fox. So there's been a little bit of a switch going there, but this team looks pretty good. I mean, points scored were 7th. And again, points against were 4th. So if we just got a little bit of a schedule break, I feel like we'd have been in the running. Let's see here. This past week, we were 7th in scoring for the week. So we're 7th for the league and 7th for the week. We were at 95% efficiency, so we're doing a little better efficiency-wise with this one last week. I don't think I'm going to do anything too drastic. I mean, I've probably already done the drastic stuff. I do think I need to get off of some age and off of some injuries. So that would be back to those 3 guys I was talking about. I will probably send out offers to people. And the closer it gets to the deadline, the more reasonable I'll be. But I'll definitely be trying to turn Porzingis, Harris, and Poeltl into 2026 draft picks is what I'll be trying to do, if at all possible. This team, by the way, not officially eliminated from playoff contention, but I do think one more loss will do it. So, and I don't think we're winning out. I really don't. At some point, it's going to happen. So, we'll keep grinding as if we are going to win out, and we'll see how it goes. Here is same sort of deal. Now, I did get to go into this league. It had already been drafted. This team had already been drafted, and it had already gone through a season. So I'm picking it up, year 2, going into year 2. I picked it, number 1, again, because it had a lot of good young talent, and number 2, it has a lot of draft picks. I've got 4 first-round picks in 2026, the highest one being the 10th as of this moment. None of them are mine. I've got everybody, all 4 picks are other players, other teams' picks. I did reach out again to the guy who has 6 first-round picks, and he is very interested in us working together to move up, move down, that sort of thing. And I can tell you, in an instance where, like, say, I have the 10 and he has the 12, I will probably embrace the idea of trading back 2 spaces, picking up another pick or something somewhere, and taking that number 12 pick. And then really just trying to saturate this roster with young talent. So, did not have a good day yesterday. I only locked in 1 player, but long week to go. 8 teams make the playoffs in this league out of 32. The trade deadline again is week 18, but the playoffs start week 21. So this one's a little bit different than the other one. Makes me kind of think maybe I wrote something down wrong on Sleeperholics, but we've got a ways to go on this one. I don't, again, know that we're going to make it to the playoffs. Schedule looks pretty tough. So I'm probably going to end up about 500 on this, but cannot complain, really. This team is really, really fun to watch. So I did, again, talk to that guy who's got the 6 picks, and I can't remember if I mentioned it, but he does have my team's first-round pick. So I want that to be as low as possible. I want to do as well as I can to keep that from being too high. And maybe I can trade him to get it back. That was traded before I took over the team, so I wouldn't mind getting that back. I even wrote down some notes here. He has basically, he does have the 1-3, which I will probably not make a move for. But he does have the 1-12, 18, 21, 24, and 32. So once you get into that second 2/3 of the first round, man, he's just dotted with draft picks. And then I looked at mine. I'm sitting at about 10, 19, 28, and 31. So I'm kind of, at this moment anyway, picking a little bit ahead of him in some spots. And again, if he's at 12 and I'm at 10, I would move back to the 12, give him the 10, let me pick up another pick or two. If I'm picking at 19 and he's picking at 21, I would move back 2 spots again, maybe pick up another pick. I can definitely see us doing stuff like that. I think the 118 right now would be mine that he has. So he picks right in front of me actually on the 119. So we were 20th, by the way, in scoring this week on this team. And we're 14th on the season. You can kind of see here. Our 14th place. We're 18th on the season, actually. And we lost to the 15th place scorer, which was really annoying. That's the kind of team I feel like if you're middle of the road and they're middle of the road, you need to kind of win those. But, in the long run, maybe it helps, with some draft capital and that sort of thing. The guy, by the way, that I have his pick, and he's now currently the 10th round, the first round 10th pick, he's lost 5 straight, and I hope he keeps losing. I hope he keeps falling a little bit, and maybe that top 10 pick will become like a top 8 or a top 6, something like that. That's it for the Sporty McSport Ball. Those 2 teams, probably not so much playoff bound, so we're still really sitting at like 2 teams with really good chances. Let's jump to the Celtics. This is one that does have a chance. 6 teams again make the playoffs. I'm a co-commissioner in this league. I sort of fell into that, and I have assured everybody after this season we're at least going to 8, if not more. If you go more, then you got to do a lot of stuff yourself, because Sleeper automates 8 playoff teams max, which is probably as high as I'll go, because I don't want to spend all the time on it. But we are 10-3. We are in 4th place. Points for, we are 6, and points against, we are 14. So we're getting a little bit of a break there. Again, this week I've only locked in a couple of players here. Not a whole lot of scoring done yesterday on the holiday Monday, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. There are 5 teams at 10-3. You'll see here I'm 10-3. There are 5 teams at 10-3, and I'm at the top of those 10-3 teams. So that just tells you, man, it's going to be a dogfight. I think all the way to the end, just trying to get in. So I do have the point lead. So having the 6th most points helps in that scenario. I did make a trade. I traded Sanders, who is Kobe Sanders, who's a rookie who's been getting some play lately, and I was a little hesitant, but I kind of needed a roster spot because I had some people coming off the injured list. And I also packaged that with Markovic, who I have stashed in a couple of leagues. And this guy originally reached out just for Markovic, and I said, hey, I'll throw Sanders with it again if we can upgrade some draft picks. Now, he didn't want to deal with any 2026 picks either, so we did some 2027. I gave him those 2 players and a 3rd round pick for Fontecchio, who I do like for the Heat, and a 2nd round pick, all of these picks in 2027. The only reason, again, I do that is because then I can maybe use those future picks, 27, 28, to jump into 2026 if there's a player I want, which I have not done any of my draft prep, and I'll do some videos on that too, probably. A little weak on this team at small forward, so that's where Fontecchio comes in. I did need the roster spot, but I also can cut some people. I would just say, when I go to looking at starts here, I can sort this column Z through A, and it just shows me how many players I've started. Markovic traded Tui, by the way. I got a pick for Tui in this league. And then there's Sanders I traded. These were guys I just picked up off the waiver wire when it came open at the beginning of the season. I did send this guy, Sears, to Milwaukee for free because once I became commissioner, I was trying to make that team a little more appealing. So I took one for the league, basically. And here's Tatum, who I have not traded off of this team, and I will not. So he's going to be coming back next year. I think Tatum. I think Tillman is cuttable. I think Harper is cuttable. I mean, there's two players there. I think if I really wanted to make some roster space, I could cut them. Shulga's a rookie, so I'd probably give him a chance. Love Gonzalez. Plan on keeping him. Thompson, probably cuttable. Butcher, probably cuttable. So yeah, just know that this team, even though I didn't have to make that trade to make the roster space, if I get that little pickup grade in whatever year, I'll usually take it for sure. And I hope Kobe Sanders does well. I really do. I think he probably is going to be worth more than what I got for him. But I have all these Celtic handcuffs and stuff, and so I really think my best bet would be to just pick a bunch of rookies next year in the deep draft, and then just get Tatum back, and let's see how it stacks up next year too. Okay. The trade deadline in this league is this week, and I have done my little review. I couldn't really find anybody I wanted to try and trade. I just, if there was anyone, it would probably be Hugo Gonzalez, and I want to keep him. I think that dude's going to be awesome. So I think probably not a lot of moves to be made here. Playoffs start week 18, and again, we're about to start week 14. By the way, last week we won 184 to 180. 180 is about the most points I've seen in a losing score. I actually scored 176 and a half earlier this year and lost. But that's a really good week to lose. In fact, I was third in scoring for last week, and I'm sixth on the season. And I beat the fourth in scoring, so that was a tough break for that dude, for sure. But again, it kind of cemented my spot as far as if I hold serve here, I should be able to make the playoffs. So I'm definitely not looking for too many trades on this team. I kind of looked at it when I picked the Celtics on this league. Sort of a bridge year. I figured 500. I didn't figure we would be that great. And then we'll just see what happens when Tatum comes back. And I think we're still in that mode, despite the fact that we're winning. Make a run this year with what we got. If it doesn't work, throw Tatum in the mix with some developmental players from the draft, and probably next year be even better. So that's kind of the idea. This season has exceeded expectations. I wrote that down on here. So that's all kind of the gigantic dynasty leagues. This one is a redraft. This one's the Tulsarado Boulder Homas. And you can see I've got some maybes on here as far as maybe I'm going to lock them in, maybe I'm not. And then I did lock in 3 for sure. So 11 and 2, we are first. We are first in points and 14th in points against. For a long time, we were 16th. So teams have started to score against us, but it hasn't really changed much. We got 10 spots in the starting lineup, and I'm averaging over 400 points a week. So, it's 40 points a player pretty much average. And so, you get a 60 up here at the top, right? That gives you a little leeway as far as some of these 38s and 35s and stuff toward the bottom. And I got to be honest, these 28s and stuff probably not gonna lock them because you can see projected wise I'm supposed to do better. So 8 teams make the playoffs out of 16, so half the league's going to make the playoffs. We have won 10 straight in this league, so we were 1 and 2, and now are 11 and 2. I did put some guys up for trade. Some of these lower guys down here, Dunn and Middleton and Hauser. Redraft doesn't trade much, and I just really don't see any point in it, to be honest. So probably not going to be much come of that. And again, this might be a league where maybe I'll do it next year. I don't know. This one, I got to be honest, has felt easy. In that I drafted really, really well. I did some research. I got my queue set. I was actually drafting while I was having a meeting with some other folks. They didn't care. It wasn't work related. But I really feel like if I did this league again, I would still do really well again. Now, I got to say, injury-wise, I've been pretty lucky, knock on wood. So if that changes things, we'll reevaluate. But I mean, I've had 35-point guys on the bench already, so I'm pretty deep as well. So this team's pretty good. We were only fourth in scoring last week. We were 86%, which again, a little bit low. I did happen to notice there is no trade deadline on this league. That lends itself to me to be maybe a sign that we're going to have some collusion and some weirdness at the end. I have been in a league where going into the championship, somebody cut all their players, and then just based on the waiver wire, players got picked up, and I lost because I just didn't have the waiver position that other people did, and it was dumb. So I don't know, I'm getting a bad vibe on this league, and I don't really want to. I can guarantee you this: if it goes cool toward the end, and they want to do it next year, I'll probably stay. If it goes weird at the end, I'll probably leave as soon as the season's over. So we'll see. I don't know that I'm necessarily going to win that one, but I have been dominating that one for quite some time. That is for sure. Here is my longest standing Dynasty League. And I didn't put my little notes up here, so I guess I'll do that at some point. In fact, I could just do it maybe in real time. I'll just look on that league right now and just kind of tell you. We are in 7th place. We dropped out of the playoffs. We were in a playoff spot for 1 week, and then we lost it. We went 0-2 this week, so we are 14-12. So I wouldn't at least just put that up here. This team again has been so bad for so long. I picked it up and have just been really working with it through now close to 4 seasons. This is the 5th year of this league. I picked up this team after the first year, and been getting better. Really want to get some 2026 draft picks. And actually, this is that league where if you don't make the playoffs, but you win the consolation bracket, you get a pick at the end of the first round. You get like a consolation pick. And I've actually been eyeballing that since I heard about it. So I'm sitting right there at the top of the consolation bracket right now at the 7 spot. I really kind of feel as though that would be the best course of action for me to get that pick. And then I wouldn't even trade it. I would just pick somebody. I'm not even sure I can trade it. But my efficiency last week was terrible. I had a 65% efficiency. I had 1 top pick and 6 worst picks. Now, this is the league, again, where you don't get to lock in the points after the games. You have to decide who you're going to start before the games start, and then you're just stuck with whatever you get. And, man, I just made all the worst picks last week. The trade deadline in this one is week 20. The playoffs start week 22. And actually, in this league, I hadn't seen where that last week is tough, because last week in the NBA is kind of like the last week of NFL. You get a lot of young players playing. You get some teams tanking. It's kind of like preseason almost. So we'd see how that goes. That actually usually helps on my team because I usually have a lot of those players that are finally getting some run. I really want to go 500 in this league. I really would not mind finishing right outside the playoffs and winning that draft pick. If I make the playoffs, I'll take it seriously and I'll try my best. But there are some really deep and good teams in this league. I just don't know that we're going to compete, frankly. Several guys I put back on the trade block, including Westbrook. He is my sole Ring of Honor member. I did put Sexton, Dunn, Dosunmu, George, who I got for a second-round pick. And, man, I could easily, I think, get a second-round pick back for him. Timmy Hardaway has been doing really well, and I don't mind keeping him, but I don't mind trading him either. Duncan Robinson, again, doing really well. Landale, Poeltl again, I would love to just unload him. So put a bunch of guys back on the trade block. I think part of that was kind of a rage thing just because I had such a bad week. but we'll kind of monitor this one as we go. And this one goes all the way to the end, man. So some of these leagues will end early before the season actually ends, and some of these go all the way to the end. This one's one that goes all the way to the end. All right, let's talk about a 18 team. I got a direct message from the guy that I beat 184 to 180. He was like, "Yeah, GG's." But anyway, this one is a 18 team dynasty. I did get to draft this team, and I feel like it's been doing really well. I have my record as 11.5 and 1.5 because I'm actually 11, 1 and 1. I'm second place. I'm third in points. I'm 12th in points against, and it's looking like this team's probably going to make the playoffs. So. Not a whole lot really to analyze here. Towns was the best center last week. He was my first round draft pick, and he's been doing extremely well. I had the 11th pick out of 18 and went pretty conservative with that pick, and I have not been disappointed. So Karl Anthony Towns, worth every penny as a first round pick. I did drop a couple of players. I've been having a roster pinch on this team. Every time someone's going to come off of IR, I didn't have anyone I wanted to drop. And so I would keep putting trade offers out there saying, hey, somebody come get these from me. Connect being one of them, Jovic being one of them, and nobody replied. So this team does not trade much. I finally dropped them both, but I did pick up Renaud. He's a rookie, and maybe I'll regret getting rid of Connect and Jovic. I don't know, but I think Renaud might make up for that. So I dropped 2, picked up 1, and now I think the roster crunch for now has been solved a little bit, and that's kind of where we're at. I don't think I know when the trade deadline on this is, but again, nobody ever trades anyway, so it probably doesn't matter much. I think I had even sent out a trade in this one. Let me just look. Trade deadline is week 16, and the playoffs start. That's not what I wanted. Week 19. So we've got basically 5 weeks left here, and I'm in pretty good shape. I haven't clinched anything yet, but I'd have to go on a pretty bad slide, I think, in order to not make it now. And I just don't know if the trade deadline really matters on this one. Just so you know, again, I got Traore, I got Renaud, I got Malak, I got Riseacre. I got some really good young players, and all of them I got off of the waiver wire, which has been a little shocking to me. So yeah, I ended up getting rid of Connect for that, and that I do like him, but I just felt like I would just kind of go with the mass appeal of as many rookies from this year as I could. And Connect, frankly, until he gets a shot, which he may never in the Lakers, I don't know, might not ever come through. So we'll see how Little Rock does rest of the season here. Last team we need to talk about is the Oklahoma Supersonics. This team was, again, one that I took over. Kind of an interesting week this week because since the inception of this league, this team is next to worst overall compared to all other teams. We're playing the team that's right next to us or right above us in the overall standings, and they're only one game up on us. So I really kind of want to win this week just to kind of get the overall standing worked out. I think going into this season, this team had only won like 3 games ever or something, and we're 6-7, so we're doing okay. Love that I traded for Pritchard. Not too upset that I got Aldama, although I did get rid of Riseacre for him. Don't mind Filipowski, and Christie I think is coming on. This one's got some potential, and this one has a bunch of draft picks. I've been talking again to a guy who also has a bunch of draft picks, and we plan on moving around a little bit. once the draft starts. But this is one, again, especially this team, the Sleeperholics team, the Sporty McSportball team, the ones that are about 500. I'm really going to try to leverage those 2027 picks and 2028 picks into 2026 if I can, and really load up, because I think this draft class is going to be worth it. So we are in 15th place, 16th in scoring. We did turn down a trade for Aldama. Someone tried to send us Schrader, who we had already traded away this year, and I just said no. We also needed a center, so Aldama fits that bill. I do have Sorber, who is my draft pick from this year, that's coming back next year, so I think that's going to make this team better. And I did get myself involved in a trade that got me Lively. And I think there's going to be some big changes in Dallas. I think the center position is Davis he might be cooked. He's always hurt. So Lively, I think, is going to be worth hanging on to. I think both those guys coming in next year. Then at that point, maybe Aldama becomes a little more expendable. So we'll see how that goes. Also, by the way, just for the record, I traded away Caruso here, and the guy I traded him to cut him. That might have even been part of the Aldama deal. I think it might have been. So I went out on the waiver wire, and I bid pretty high on him, and there was one other bidder, but I got him back. So one of my if I trade someone away and then later on I see that player got cut, I am almost always going to pick that player back up and just wait and see. Because basically that means if I can get that player back, whoever I got out of that trade just became more of a discount, basically. So I did get Caruso on the waiver wire, and I did pick up Fleming on the waiver wire, and he's another one I think I'm going to probably hang on to as well. So lots of good young guys here. Traded away Huerter. That was part of the Aldama deal. I do remember that. But, you look at Lively, Sorber, Jones. Here's that Kobe Jones I was talking about. Fleming, Penda. These are all really, really good young guys. Clifford was one of my draft picks as well. And some of these other folks have been coming through. Pritchard's been awesome. I kind of got him. I wasn't looking for him, but he came my way, and I accepted the deal, and I've been pretty happy about that. So, this one disappointment, I guess, about this league again, you only start 6 players every week. I think you're opening, again, yourself up to people making very, very thin rosters and not caring about bench, not caring about taxi, not caring about any of that stuff, and just trying to sneak out, a lucky win is what I would call it. Because they're not looking for dynasty, they're looking for, 1 year win. And if you can build up the full roster, then you've got a chance at making several runs, not just one. So anyway, I think that covers all of the week 13 fantasy basketball information that I've got for you. I'll just keep, running through the gambit here. As soon as teams start to become eliminated, I will try to cut it down. I already know I went long again. I just like the sound of my own voice, I guess. But just know this, I'm really enjoying it. If it gives you any help as far as hearing me talk about a trade or how I use a roster spot or how I evaluate a player or something, I think that's awesome. I would highly encourage you to disagree with me. I'm no expert. I just try to basically pay attention to what's going on in the league and what's going on in all my leagues. And if I trade a player in one spot, I might try to necessarily keep them in another, like I did with Tatum. If I trade someone away and I can pick them back up, I probably will do that just to kind of see how it all pans out. And I'm looking forward to the future in all of these. I really hope they all kind of make it. But history has told me there'll probably be at least a few that don't. So you guys stay safe out there. Again, if you want to listen to some Winnie the Pooh, I've got the whole book now on its own playlist. I did finish Treasure Island. If you're interested in that, put it on for some background noise. It'll be awesome. I will check in again with you next week.